What's up guys, Cloudie here checking in from the America server, and this is gonna be my guide and showcase run for Stage 5 Galgoria, one of the new Techno Magic raids, the first one of them, which you unlock by clearing 10-9 and Valence's Workshop. And this is the one that drops the Perseverance set, which is probably the most useful for DPS characters. Now the way the video is gonna be built is that first I'm gonna check out the skills and abilities of the boss, and then I'm gonna show our Stage 5 auto run and talk a bit about classes and setups and whatnot. So before we get to it, I would like to make a shout out to my two friends Mittens and Rhea, who have worked with me, tested with me, brainstormed with me, and finally enabled to get this run done together. So big thanks to you guys. Looking forward to do more farming. Okay, so let's get to it, guys. I'm kind of sad to say that there isn't really a budget option to do this. Even when you are being carried, you kind of need certain characters to be built, and especially in the higher stages. If you are staying on the lower ones, then yeah, you can get by with more budget options. But in the higher stages, you kind of need build heroes, and only Stage 5 and up drops reclaimed gear. Although the drop rates are really bad, we have spent like 15,000 stamina on Stage 4 and had 3 items drop, so like 1 per 5k. That's pretty bad. But okay, let's check the boss's skills. Let's start with this one, because this is the core mechanic of the boss, Swamp Imprisonment, which means upon taking damage 150 times, Galgoria dispels imprisonment inflicted upon all heroes and imprisons one hero that dealt the highest damage and removes them from the battle for 8 seconds, increases damage dealt by all heroes that are not imprisoned for 8 seconds. So that means that after you hit him 150 times, he will banish one of your characters, everyone else gets a damage buff. And the character who is banished will come out either after 8 seconds, or if you have very fast attackers, then sooner, because the stack goes up. Now, having very fast attackers is not really good here. We have tried Akara, and for his other mechanic I will show you why that is not really good. But basically this forces you to have at least 2 DPS, and they will be switching each other in imprisonment. So one of them goes ahead, does some damage, gets banished, then the other one has time to catch up. Now this also means that bursty characters and dot characters are actually the better ones. Those with constant damage are struggling a bit. Also, it's kind of meh. It's kind of meh because a lot of characters need some time to ramp up their damage, needs to chain cast skills, stuff like that, and that really hampers them if they just get banished in between. And this also means that your lowest damage kind of sets the pace, because every time your better DPS gets ahead, it will get banished and your lower one will need to catch up. One way to get around this is to actually run 3 good DPS, but I know that's kind of hard to do. So yeah, you will see this in the run. But okay, let's move back to his skills. Swamp Destroyers. Attacks enemies in front of Galgoria 3 times, dealing a magic damage. All of his damage is magic, and afterwards launches a final attack on a wider range, dealing magic damage proportional to their target's current HP and knocking them down. Now this is really sucky for melee DPS, because if you are running like with a shield, like a Fallen Frey shield, then the first 3 attacks will pretty much hit their shield and then get them very, very low, while the last attack only hits everyone else, not just the melee ones, but everyone will still have a full shield, so they technically do not take damage, while melee have their shields robbed, and that's kinda sucks, because yeah, it's just not so friendly to melee guys, and again, Vespo has just screwed with melee people, because why not? Yeah, you will see this in the run too. So Poisonous Swamp, so creates a Poisonous Swamp in a circular area for 5 seconds, and enemies within range take magic damage every second, and their mana recovery is reduced and their attack is increased. So this again, mana recovery reduced, so most of us older players have gear optimized with Lavril in mind, and the way these Techno Magic raids work is that of course you cannot bring more than one character per class after Stage 5 or higher, so we will not have Lavril buff, and this again is kind of messing with how we are gearing, so I kind of had to work around that. Poisonous Explosion. Galgoria attacks all enemies 2 times. The first attack reduces attack, and the second attack reduces crit chance. That's a 500 crit chance reduction, which is really not nice, because, yeah, again, all our gear is set to have a certain amount of lines and bonuses, and without those we are a little bit messed up, and it's kind of hard to actually get there with critting. And I do not know how this is gonna work with Techno Magic gear that does not have enchants and only has 2 lines per gear. So yeah, gonna have to see how that works out. Fatal Venom. Now this is the other mechanic that I was mentioning. After using a skill 3 times, Galgoria attacks all enemies, dealing magic damage. Hit enemies' heal rate is permanently reduced, and Galgoria's attack is permanently increased. Which means as he keeps casting skills, your healing is going down and his attack is going up. And there is a point after which he is like breaking through your shields and you are not healing at all. You will see this in the run probably, that there are points where we are getting fed 0 green numbers and it's just the Frey shield that's keeping us alive. But yeah, Vespa has also made sure that that doesn't work so well, because persistent life force skill. So Galgoria is not affected by attack speed effects, however he can have death shred on him, which is interesting. He is recovering HP every second, and lifesteal is disabled on all your heroes. Woohoo! In battles of stage 4 or above, his heal rate is increased by 50%, and the heal rate of heroes is reduced by 40, and the shield of heroes is reduced by 60. So they knew that we were probably gonna try and abuse Fallen Frey here, and gave her a fat 60% reduction in shield. Now if you have a Veiled Frey, this is probably not gonna be much of a problem. Mine is A1 and her shields aren't always holding, so yeah. So these are the skills of the boss. Basically, it's all about healing and 2 DPS competing for banishment. Doesn't sound too hard, but if you want to do this on auto, it gets a bit more tricky, because auto is kind of stupid. But let's switch to our run, see how that goes, and I can talk a bit more about classes and whatnot. So let's switch to that. So this is our stage 5 auto run, where our basic strategy was to stack healing reduction and attack reduction on him, and then just trying to have enough DPS to kill him before he kills us with his stacking attack buff and healing reduction on us. We need 2 or more DPS here to be able to kill him. On a team level you need about 600 million DPS for stage 5, but the more the better, because his stacking buffs will just hurt too much towards the end. You can see it at the run. Also worth to bring more than 2 good DPS if you can, because the banish mechanics with that 8 seconds is just really hampering some DPS. It can be too bursty. You can see my Serio disappearing there, and now she's not really doing anything, but she still takes damage. Now, because of the pretty heavy DPS requirements, it's kind of hard to get carried here. If nothing else, you can build a tank. And as we are getting to the classes, I will just explain to you why you should build Mora actually. So Mora is the staple tank for pretty much everyone, even physical teams here, because she brings healing reduction, attack down, magic block, and magic amp, and that's just very, very useful. So if you do not have any good DPS or support characters that work here, build Mora. And then just try and bring her. Hopefully someone can bring you along for a run. But yeah, you're pretty much gonna need to at least pull your weight on that one. Moving on, who else might work here? From warriors, I think Kirza is the best option for DPS. We are running Serio here because that's the one I had built, but she isn't too optimal. She's a bit bad on auto and has issues. If you do not have a DPS warrior, maybe Visca is a good option, because she brings, again, attack down, magic defense down, and she can be built as a tank. She doesn't need to be DPS, but then of course you need to bring DPS from other options. From assassins, what I have seen, Cloudie, Miriam, Ezekiel, and even Epis have been used. Ignore defense mechanics are pretty good here, so those characters that have that are pretty good. Ezekiel is kind of underrated, but he's also hampered here by having my Serio being lower in DPS, so gating him pretty much, holding him back. From archers, the best choice I've seen is actually Talisha. In part because she brings healing and mana regeneration, and because increasing healing on your heroes so you can go on longer. She also has healing reduction on the boss, so that's really helpful. Other than her, I would consider Yuria, and Celine is a pretty good boss killer, so she could be also very good. Moving on to mechanics, Annette is a staple choice, healing and amps and buffs, pretty good. Or you could go with Pensiron, or you could go with Cecilia. I don't think anyone else is really worth. Moving on to wizards, Lorraine and Sarah are the staple choices. Lorraine really good, even as a budget option, because she has a lot of attack down, and if built heavily, then she can do a lot of damage with her dots even when she is banished, so that's really good. Her dots just keep ticking while she is banished. Really recommended. For healers, basically every stage 6 clear I have seen was with Fallen Frey. You could use normal Frey or say a Shea, because continuous healing is really important here. So these are kind of your choices. There is also stuff like Lias or Refi, but they don't really bring enough to the table, I believe, to be used on the higher stages. So this is our run. You can see we are almost done. Kind of took long, we need a bit more DPS, but yeah, he's dead. And I hope this is helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, both on the run or the strategies, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I will try to answer all of them. And for now, this has been Cloudie. I hope you liked it. See you in the next one. Bye bye.